Hi guys, it's me, Miss Stone. So one of the things that we're going to be doing this year, of course, in the ELA class is read. And in order to kind of give you a taste of what I'm like as a teacher, I figured I could read one of my favorite books to you, or at least a couple of pages of it anyway. And that way you could kind of get a feel for my teaching style, the way that I sound, the way that I act when I'm reading. And this way, you'll kind of get an idea of what it's going to be like to be working with me this year. So, one of the things that we're going to be doing, of course, is reading some longer texts, and that's in order to kind of build your reading stamina. And one of the books that my students last year loved was The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. And if you can't tell, this is a very well-loved, well-worn copy because I use it almost every year in some respect. So the main story is about a kid named Ponyboy Curtis. Yes, that is his real name. They all have some kind of interesting sounding names. And he is in high school and he's part of a gang. And at the beginning of the book, he's walking home alone from the movies. So I'm actually going to start. I'm going to start pretty close to the beginning. I'm going to start on page 2. And here we go. I went on walking home thinking about the movie, and then suddenly wishing I had some company. Greasers, that's the gang that he's in, can't walk alone too much or they'll get jumped. Or someone will come by and scream, "Greaser!" at them, which doesn't make you feel too hot, if you know what I mean. We get jumped by the socias. I'm not sure how you spell it, but it's the abbreviation for the socials, the jet set, the west side rich kids. It's like the term greaser, which is used to class all us boys on the east side. We're poorer than the socias in the middle class. I reckon we're wilder, too. Not like the socias who jump greasers and wreck houses and throw beer blasts for kicks and get editorials in the paper for being a public disgrace one day and an asset to society the next. Greasers are almost like hoods. We steal things and drive old souped-up cars and hold up gas stations and have a gang fight once in a while. I don't mean I do things like that. Derry would kill me if I got in trouble with the police, since Mom and Dad were killed in an auto wreck. The three of us get to stay together only as long as we behave. So Soto and I can stay out of trouble as much as we can, and we're careful not to get caught when we can't. I only mean that most greasers do things like that. Just like we wear our hair long and dress in blue jeans and t-shirts, or leave our shirt tails out and wear leather jackets and tennis shoes or boots. I'm not saying that either socias or greasers are better. That's just the way things are. I could have waited to go to the movies until Derry or Soda Pop got off work. They would have gone with me, or driven me there, or walked along, although Soda just can't sit still long enough to enjoy a movie, and they bore Derry to death. Derry thinks his life is enough without inspecting other people's. Or I could have gotten one of the gang to come along, one of the 4 boys Derry and Soda and I have grown up with and consider family. We're almost as close as brothers. When you grow up in a tight-knit neighborhood like ours, you get to know each other real well. If I had thought about it, I would have called Derry and he would have come by on his way and picked me up. Or Two-Bit Matthews, one of our gang, would have come to get me in his car if I had asked him. But sometimes I just don't use my head. It drives my brother Derry nuts when I do stuff like that because I'm supposed to be smart. I make good grades and have a high IQ and everything, but I don't use my head. Besides, I like walking. I decided I didn't like it too much, though, when I spotted that red Corvair trailing me. I was almost 2 blocks from home then, so I started walking a little faster. I had never been jumped, but I had seen Johnny after 4 socias got a hold of him, and it wasn't pretty. Johnny was scared of his own shadow after that. Johnny was 16 then. I knew it wasn't any use, though. The fast walking, I mean. Even before the Corvair pulled up beside me and 5 socias got out, I got pretty scared. I'm kind of small for 14, even though I have a good build, and those guys were bigger than me. I automatically hitched my thumbs in my jeans and slouched, wondering if I could get away if I made a break for it. I remember Johnny, his face all cut up and bruised, and I remember how he had cried when we found him half conscious in the corner lot. Johnny had it awful rough at home. It took a lot to make him cry. I was sweating something fierce, although I was cold. I could feel my palms getting clammy and the perspiration running down my back. I get like that when I'm real scared, don't you? I glanced around for a pop bottle or a stick or something. Steve Randall, Soda's best buddy, had once held off 4 guys with a busted pop bottle, but there was nothing. So I stood there like a bump on a log while they surrounded me. I don't use my head. They walked around slowly, silently, smiling. "Hey, Grease," one said in an overly friendly voice. "We're gonna do you a favor, Greaser. We're gonna cut all that long, greasy hair off." He had on a Madras shirt. I can still see it. Blue Madras. One of them laughed, then cussed me out in a low voice. I couldn't think of anything to say. There just isn't a whole lot you can say while waiting to get mugged, so I kept my mouth shut. "Need a haircut, Greaser?" The medium-sized blonde pulled a knife out of his back pocket, flipped the blade open. Finally thought of something to say. "No." I was backing up away from that knife. Of course, I backed right into one of them. They had me down in a second. They had my arms and legs pinned down, and one of them was sitting on my chest with his knees on my elbows. And if you don't think that hurts, you're crazy. I could smell English leather, shaving lotion, and stale tobacco, and I wondered foolishly if I would suffocate before they did anything. I was so scared, so bad, I was wishing I would. I fought to get loose and almost did for a second, and they tightened up on me, and the one on my chest slugged me a couple of times, so I lay still, swearing at them between gasps. A blade was held against my throat. "How'd you like to get that haircut just below the chin?" It occurred to me then that they could kill me. I went wild. I started screaming for soda, dairy, anyone. Someone put his hand over my mouth, and I bit it as hard as I could, tasting blood running through my teeth. I heard a muttered curse and got slugged again, and they were stuffing a handkerchief in my mouth. One of them kept saying, "Shut him up, for Pete's sake, shut him up." Then there were shouts and the pounding of feet, and the Socias jumped up and left me lying there, gasping. I lay there and wondered what in the world was happening. People were jumping over me and running by me, and I was too dazed to figure it out. Then someone had me under the armpits and was hauling me to my feet. It was Derry. "Are you all right, pony boy?" He was shaking me, and I wish he'd stop. I was dizzy enough anyway. I could tell it was Derry, though, partly because of the voice and partly because Derry's always rough with me without meaning to be. "I'm okay. Quit shaking me, Derry. I'm okay." He stopped instantly. "I'm sorry." He wasn't really. Derry isn't ever sorry for anything he does. It seems funny to me that he could look just exactly like my father and act exactly the opposite from him. My father was only 40 when he died. He looked 25. And a lot of people thought Derry and Dad were brothers instead of father and son, but they only looked alike. My father was never rough with anyone without meaning to be. And that's where I'm going to stop. If that little piece of text interested you, there are online versions of The Outsiders. It's a great book. We'll probably be reading from parts of this throughout the year also. So I would encourage you to check out Pony Boy's story as well as the rest of the Greasers. Bye for now.